Why do men disappear? This is the question that torments many women after an intense connection, long conversations, looks that seem to promise something more, and then, suddenly, silence. He stops responding, vanishes from the map, disappears as if he never existed. And when that happens, the female mind goes into a real whirlwind. You start to wonder, did I do something wrong? Did I talk too much? Did he find someone else? Was I not interesting enough? These questions eat away at you because male silence always seems louder than any answer. But the truth is that there are only two secrets that clearly explain this behavior. Two secrets that most women are unaware of, but which govern the male mind when it comes to interest, connection, and disappearance. And if you understand these 2 points, you will stop blaming yourself and start to see what is really happening. Before I reveal them, I want you to imagine the following. A man may like you very much, he may have fun, he may even feel a real attraction, but he still disappears. That doesn't mean you're worthless, it doesn't mean you're not amazing, it doesn't mean he didn't notice your qualities. The reason goes far beyond that. The reason is hidden in the way men deal with emotions, choices, and desires. And here's the thing. When a man disappears, he rarely gives explanations. He doesn't send a message saying, "Look, I'm going to disappear because I can't handle this." He just disappears. And that silence creates even greater pain because it leaves room for the imagination to fill in the blanks. You imagine 1,000 things, but the reality is that the explanation is much simpler than you think. In this video, I'll guide you step by step to understand these two secrets. I'll show you why men disappear even when they seem interested. I'll reveal what goes on in their minds and, most importantly, how you can use this knowledge to your advantage. Because when you understand male psychology, you stop chasing desperate answers and start seeing the signs before he disappears. And I'll tell you right now, often, it has nothing to do with you. It has to do with him, his emotions, his current situation in life. But when you don't understand that, you blame yourself and suffer much more than you should. So, if you've been through this or are going through it now, stay with me until the end, because this video will open your mind. You'll gain a deep understanding of the two secrets that explain this male disappearance, and you'll never look at these situations the same way again. And I want to leave you with an important warning. This content is much more than theory. These are truths that hurt, but they are liberating. When you understand why they disappear, you'll be able to see beyond the words, beyond the messages, beyond the excuses. You'll see the truth. Now tell me, are you ready to discover the two secrets that make a man disappear without a trace? Because from here on, you will enter the male mind in a way that few people have dared to show. The first secret that explains why a man disappears is linked to something that few women see: the fear of emotional intensity. It may seem strange, but many men don't know how to deal with feelings when they come on too strong and too fast. It's as if their hearts have an emergency brake. At first, everything seems lighthearted. Exchanged messages, fun dates, exchanged glances, that good feeling of novelty. But at some point, he realizes that he is entering a territory that demands more from him, demands commitment, demands clarity, demands emotional maturity. And when that moment comes, instead of opening up, many men hit the brakes and disappear. This happens because men were raised, for the most part, to repress their emotions. From an early age, they hear phrases like, "Men don't cry," "Men don't show weakness," "You have to be strong." These ideas, which seem innocent, end up creating adults who don't know how to deal with their own vulnerability. So when a woman awakens real feelings in him, he doesn't know what to do with them. For him, it's easier to disappear than to face what he feels. And here's the painful truth. Sometimes he even likes you, but the fear of feeling more than he can control speaks louder. He may think, if I continue, I'll get too attached. I'll lose control. I'll end up hurting myself or hurting her. This fear is not spoken, not confessed. He simply acts, and the simplest way to act is to disappear. A clear example is the guy who seemed very interested. He sent you messages every day, made plans, said nice things. Suddenly you notice that the messages start to decrease. The dates become rarer, until one day he disappears for good. It wasn't because you changed, it wasn't because you stopped being interesting. It was because the emotional intensity began to scare him. It's as if his mind said, "Run away before it's too late," and disappearing becomes a way to protect himself. This pattern is common in men who have not had deep emotional experiences before. Men who have always avoided getting attached, who jump from relationship to relationship, who are always looking for novelty so they don't have to deal with more serious feelings. When they find someone who awakens something real, it becomes an internal shock, and it is in this shock that he disappears. You may be asking yourself, but then what do I do about it? How do I identify this type of man? The answer lies in observing the signs. A man who disappears because he is afraid of emotional intensity usually shows small clues beforehand. He is the type who contradicts himself, who says he likes you but avoids making simple commitments, who prefers to keep everything too light, who shies away from deep conversations. He may even show interest, but he always keeps one foot out the door. When you see this behavior, understand, it's not about you, it's about his internal struggle, and that struggle usually ends in silence because he doesn't know how to deal with his own vulnerability. This is the first secret, disappearing as a defense mechanism against emotional intensity. It's the way many men find to avoid dealing with what they feel, even if it means hurting someone who could be special to them. And here's an essential point. When a man disappears for this reason, the worst thing you can do is chase after him trying to force answers. The more you pressure him, the more he closes himself off, because his escape wasn't born out of a lack of immediate interest, but out of fear of diving into something he can't control. In the next section, I'll show you the second secret. And this one is even more revealing, because it's not just about feelings, but also about choices, priorities, and even the way he sees life. This second secret will make you understand not only why he disappeared, but also why so many men repeat this same pattern. The second secret that explains why men disappear is not only linked to emotions, but to hidden priorities and intentions. Many men disappear because, from the beginning, they never had a clear goal of building something serious. For them, that moment was just a phase, a distraction, a way to fill a void or satisfy an immediate need. And it hurts to hear, but it's the reality. He didn't disappear because you're not good enough, but because in his mind, you were never part of a bigger plan. Men and women in general experience love in different ways. While many women plan for the future, build dreams, and imagine possibilities after a few connections, many men are able to stay in the present. They can go out, have fun, create intimacy, and still see everything as something temporary. This type of man disappears because his intention was always momentary. He doesn't make this clear, because if he said it at the beginning, he probably wouldn't have the same access, the same closeness. So he prefers to let the connection happen, and when he realizes that you expect something more, he disappears. It's as if he were silently saying, "I never promised anything, so I don't have to justify why I'm leaving." A simple example. Maybe he recently got out of a relationship and just wanted a distraction. Maybe he was at a stage in his life where his main focus was work, studies, personal projects. Or maybe he just wasn't willing to make room for someone real. In all these cases, he may even show interest for a few days or weeks, but the real intention was never to keep it alive. And when this difference between what you expect and what he can offer appears, silence becomes the easiest way out. He doesn't have to explain. He doesn't have to face uncomfortable conversations. He just disappears. It's hard, but here's the big revelation. When a man disappears for this reason, it's not because you weren't good enough. It's because, for him, what you had together had an expiration date from the beginning. He knew it, even if you didn't. This is the second secret, disappearing as a reflection of a lack of true intention, and you can notice this even before he disappears. Generally, men who disappear due to a lack of intention show some clear signs. They avoid talking about the future. They always leave plans up in the air without confirming anything. They are present when it is convenient, but disappear when you need them most. They value their free time more than the time you spend together. These are small attitudes, but when added up, they reveal that he doesn't see you as a priority. And when that happens, the final silence is no surprise. It's just confirmation that his intention was momentary from the start. This type of man also usually has an internal justification for not feeling guilty. He thinks, "I didn't promise anything. I was just living in the moment. If she created expectations, that's her problem." And this is where many women suffer because they end up carrying guilt that was never theirs. So understand this, when a man disappears because he has no real intention, you haven't lost anything. You've just gotten rid of someone who was never going to give you what you deserve. In the next section, I'll show you how these two secrets, fear of emotional intensity and lack of intention, are connected. You'll understand how to identify each case and, most importantly, how to protect your heart from men who disappear without explanation. Now that you know the two secrets, it's time to put the pieces together. A man's disappearance may seem like an impossible mystery to understand, but when we look closely, we realize that it almost always fits into only two possibilities. He disappears because he doesn't know how to deal with emotional intensity, or he disappears because he never had any real intention of building something with you. These two secrets may seem different, but in practice, they are connected. The key point is that, in both cases, the man chooses the easy way out: silence. Whether out of fear of giving too much of himself or a lack of real intention, he prefers to disappear rather than face a sincere conversation. For many men, running away is more comfortable than admitting their own limitations or revealing that they were never as committed as they seemed. And that's why so many women are confused. Because in both cases, the initial behavior may be the same: attention, frequent messages, affectionate gestures, intense looks. But then suddenly, everything changes. He disappears, and you don't understand why. The difference lies in the subtle signs, the ones that go unnoticed when you're emotionally involved. Let's look at the signs of the first case. When the man disappears for fear of emotional intensity, he shows interest, but avoids deep conversations about feelings. He says he likes you but doesn't talk about the future. He seems present but creates barriers when the connection gets too serious. He makes a point of keeping the relationship light without clearly defining what you are experiencing. These are signs of a man who feels but doesn't know how to deal with his feelings. He is vulnerable, and disappearing is a way of escaping his own fragility. Now the signs of the second case, when he disappears due to a lack of real intention. From the beginning, he never really makes an effort. He makes vague plans but doesn't follow through. He shows up when it's convenient but disappears when you need him. He avoids any kind of emotional responsibility, always making it clear, between the lines, that he doesn't want anything serious. This is the type of man who never planned to stay. He was there for convenience, momentary pleasure, or distraction. When you see these signs, you begin to realize something important. Disappearance never happens suddenly. It is built on small attitudes, on repeated behaviors that, if you are attentive, you can identify. And here's a point that changes everything. The faster you identify the pattern, the less suffering you will have. Because instead of asking yourself, "What did I do wrong?" you will understand, this has nothing to do with me. It has to do with him. This change in perspective is powerful. It takes the weight of guilt off you and gives you back clarity. And there's more. Understanding these two secrets also helps you protect your energy. When you see the signs early on, you don't invest as much time or give so much of yourself to someone who has no ability or intention to reciprocate. I know it can be painful because when we like someone, we tend to justify, make excuses, believe that they are just busy, that they will come back, that they need some time. But often, the truth is right in front of your eyes. They are disappearing, and you can't control whether a man will disappear or not. But you can control how you react. In the next section, I'll show you exactly how to turn that pain into strength. You'll understand how to deal with it when a man disappears, how to turn the tables in your mind, and how to use these two secrets to shield yourself emotionally instead of feeling destroyed by his silence. We've come to the most important part: how you should react when a man disappears. Because understanding the two secrets is essential, but even more essential is knowing what to do when it happens to you. The first thing you need to remember is simple: don't chase after him. When a man disappears, he has already made a choice. If you try to pull him back, beg, send him lots of messages, pressure him, all you are doing is further fueling his decision to walk away. He feels he is in control, and you end up losing yours. His silence should be met with your silence, not out of pride, but out of wisdom. If he disappeared because he doesn't know how to deal with feelings, he will only realize your value when he notices that you are not willing to beg for attention. If he disappeared because he never had any real intention, then you just got rid of someone who would never give you what you deserve. The second step is to shift your focus. Instead of wasting energy trying to understand what's going on in his head, spend your energy on yourself. Invest in what makes you feel good, in your projects, in your friends, in your own growth. Because the truth is hard, but liberating. When a man disappears, he is revealing much more about himself than about you. The third step is to observe patterns. The two secrets I've revealed here are repeated in thousands of stories. And when you start to see the signs early on, you avoid falling into cycles of suffering. You stop giving chances to men who just want to pass the time, and make room for those who are truly mature and intend to build something serious. Now think with me. How many times have you blamed yourself for something that wasn't your fault? How many times did you believe you weren't good enough when in fact you were dealing with someone incapable of giving you the bare minimum? This cycle only ends when you understand that his disappearance does not define your worth. And that's exactly what I want you to take away from this video. If he disappears because he's afraid of emotional intensity, it's not your job to heal that in him. If he disappears because he never had any real intention, you should be grateful that he left before you invested even more. In both cases, your attitude should be the same. Move on without diminishing yourself. Men who disappear exist, and they always will. But when you understand the two secrets, you no longer fall into emotional traps. You gain clarity, strength, and awareness to make better choices. And remember, a man's disappearance may hurt, but it can also be a gift in disguise. Because often, by disappearing, he makes room for someone real to appear. Someone who won't run away when they feel it. Someone who won't disappear when you need them most. Someone who will be there with clear intentions and the courage to live everything by your side. The conclusion is simple, but powerful. Never see a man's disappearance as an end. See it as a filter. Those who disappear were not meant to stay. Those who remain, those who face things together, they are the ones who deserve your heart. And now I want to leave you with a final thought. The next time a man disappears, don't ask, "What did I do wrong?" Ask, "What didn't he have the courage to do right?" This small change in perspective transforms pain into learning and learning into power. Because in the end, men disappear for only two reasons. But you don't have to disappear inside yourself because of that. You deserve to be seen, valued, and loved by someone who is not afraid of intensity and who knows exactly what they want from you.